I gotta say, I'm a little tired today. The last 2 nights I haven't slept like an angel. And my little angel, Daisy, keeps needing to go out to the toilet at like 3:30, and she bangs on the door like a little legend. Bam, 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 bam. Let me out, mummy. Or like a little gremlin. And I just haven't been falling back to sleep like a legend, you know? I often do this. I often say to myself when I start thinking about lots of things, and then I'm like, should I check my phone? Maybe I'll reply to some emails, or I don't know, look on Instagram. And then I say to myself, no, let me rest. I actually recorded a meditation on this for my Take Your Meds meditation membership, because I have that type of brain/ego that will always want to find something to do, and letting myself have permission to rest is just a really nice self-love thing that I can do for myself. So that's what I say. And it's been getting me back to sleep, but it has been broken. So I feel tired, but hey, we're here. We're here when we're anxious. We're here when we're tired. We're here when whatever's going on. That's why it's called the Real, Raw, Relatable Podcast. Don't have to show up perfect. We just show up as we are, and that lends itself to authenticity. I actually want to share with you today about a period of time that has taken place recently in my life, where there has been a pretty phenomenal surge in my online community, namely Instagram. So from the months of November, late November 2022, where are we now? It's May 11th, the day I'm recording this. I'd probably say from the end of November to the start of March, end of Feb, there was some exponential growth in my online community. So much so that I went from, I think it was 30.2 thousand in my community, and now it's 529,000. I'm sharing this not to gloat or to brag, because there's a story behind, I guess, that growth that I'm actually proud of. So that growth was taking place, and I'm 9 years into my business. If you're listening to this, I'm recording this on May 11th, 2023. This is my 9th year of business, and I started from scratch. I used to be a registered nurse. So when I first came out after nursing and started my whole new thing of what I'm doing today, I had no online community. I think Instagram was just coming out. Facebook was more the thing. Meetup was more of a thing, the app Meetup. So I had community of zero. And, over the years, I have plugged away at the way that I share my message, the way that I write, all those types of things, right? So this is my 9th year this year. And I remember at the beginning of my business, I really wanted things to take off fast, because I wanted it to be successful. But a friend of mine who was in personal branding, she said to me, it's going to take 3 years to build your brand and for people to trust you. I was like, we'll see. And I'm like, fuck, she's right. And then I saw a thing from Mel Robbins. It was a couple of years ago. I saw what she posted, and it'll take 10 years. It'll take 10 years for you to become, like a master in what it is that you're doing, or even seen as a master, or seen as someone who's like, oh yeah, this chick or this guy or whoever it may be is someone that I'm willing to turn to for guidance in whatever it may be. Authenticity, confidence, pushing through certain things, growth, development, money, whatever. And I was like, fucking hell, are you serious? That's a long bloody time. And now I'm in my 9th year. I'm like, these people have a point. They have a point. So in the beginning, I guess I wanted to rush things and speed things up to prove to myself that I wasn't a failure, to prove to the people around me that I wasn't a failure, namely to my dad, because my dad would always say that, you know, in the beginning, it's a hobby because you're not making a lot of money out of it. I'm like, fuck you. This is my passion. This is my purpose. He's like, I get it. But right now, it's a hobby because it's not able to sustain your life and buy you the avocados you want to buy and have the coffee you want to drink, etc. I'm like, fine. And at the beginning, I very much resisted it, but again, 9 years in, and I'm like, fair call, Papa Bear. And look, you know, in the beginning, I was cleaning houses. I was cleaning my friends' houses. I was doing some nursing shifts for like in-home care. And I remember this beautiful lady who I met. She was going through breast cancer, and through the company that I was working with, she specifically asked for me to take care of her and take her to her chemotherapy appointments, her plastic surgery appointments, because I'm an ex plastic surgery nurse. So she found comfort in that. And I was doing all of those things. Like I said, cleaning houses, doing nursing shifts, and then trying to make my hobby. Yes, Dad, it was a hobby. I'll admit it now. Into um, my main source of income. Anyway, so wanted to rush it through in the beginning. 9 years later, I'm so freaking glad that that didn't take place. You know, the having those humble starts, and I had a lot of humble starts when it came to work, when it came to my purpose. In terms, humble starts with money, humble starts with growing my community, humble starts with people trusting me as a brand. You know, like it was really working from the ground up and building layer by layer on the outside, but building layer by layer on the inside of me. So the reason I say this and why I'm sharing this with you is because through the period of growth on with my online community from November to March, that was the biggest growth, where sometimes like I'd wake up and there'd be 10,000 more people that were in my community. I'm like, what the actual fuck is going on? You know, this is bizarre. I would walk down Elwood and people would be like, dude, you're fucking taking over my Instagram. Like, what are you doing? Are you posting ads? Are you, you know, boosting ads? I'm like, I'm not doing anything. I think the Instagram algorithm just went scoop up, spit out. Um, the reason why I'm sharing this today is because through that period, my feet stayed fucking firm on the ground. You know, if anything, Steve was my main cheerleader. He was like, oh my gosh, look what's happening. And my stepdaughters were like, you know, counting upward of certain views of reels or certain amount of people that were new followers that day. They were my biggest cheerleaders. And I just watched. I watched everything that was taking place on the outside, but also what was taking place internally. I was watching my ego. I was watching my ego that wanted to make it mean all these things, that I had made it, and you know, now I could do this, and now I can do that, and now. But then also the ego's fear of like, fuck, you know, what if these new people that follow you, they actually get to know you and then they don't like you? And also the ego's story of like, oh, cool, well, what are you going to do now? You're going to have to perform a lot harder to keep these people. You're going to have to really work to keep these people in your sphere. So I was watching that. And I was also watching this part of me that was like, cool, what a great experience. The part of me that wasn't making it mean anything. It wasn't making it mean that I was more successful or more legitimate or more this or more that, right? Um, I was watching that part of me and going, that's cool. And then also watching my ego that was trying to make it mean lots and lots of different things and going, that's cool. And I remember being in the shower and Steve was in the bathroom at the same time, and we were chit chatting, and often we chit chat when I'm in the shower or he's in the shower, and we just have talks about cool different things. And I said to him, as someone who is partner to me, and seeing this growth and watching it all take place, do you have any concern? I said, because possibly like someone else who might have a lot of growth might let it get to their head, might, abuse potential opportunities and that kind of stuff. I said, how is this for you? And he said, it's nothing, like it's neutral. He said, I'm actually just purely happy for you. He said, I have no concern or question or qualms about this because I don't feel like this is going to unearth you. And I said to him, I feel the exact same way. I said, but if this happened when I was at the start of my business, when I was in like desperate mode, desperate to be successful, desperate to not fail, desperate to look like I was doing good, this would have unearthed me. I would have felt, and this was probably my ego's biggest response to this taking place. It was, what are you going to do now to make them like you? What are you going to do now to keep them? And it just reminded me of my old self. And this is why I will forever say authenticity and being authentic is a forever dance that you'll be dancing with. Because you may look at me and you're like, you've landed at authenticity and that's that. And yes, and I'm also still dancing with parts of me that are still alive, like the part in me that just said when I was going through that, when my online community was growing, well, you got to be your best perform now. You got to be more on your stories. You got to be more on your reels. You got to make your reels funnier. You got to make your reels like the last one that got X amount of views and comments and shares, right? So my ego went into performance mode and it reminded me of old me. It reminded me of inauthentic Kat that felt the need to do whatever I had to do or be whoever I had to be in order to keep someone, in order for someone to keep liking me, in order to feel accepted and to really, I guess, protect myself from being rejected. But all I did back then was reject myself. And I've worked pretty fucking damn hard to not do that anymore. And like I said, I'm still in a dance with it. There'll be times where I will choose something and I'm like, oh, that felt like a minor rejection of self. That felt like, I don't think I majorly reject myself anymore, but I can still feel the little like, that felt, that didn't feel so good. What was it? What was it about that? So November, December, January, February, March, for 4 months, I was watching um, my stepchildren respond to the growth, watching Steve respond to my growth, my family, my community, who have been there from fucking day dot, and they'd be like, "What the fuck is going on?" I'm like, "I don't know," but it's pretty cool to watch. I was watching it all, and then I was watching my internal response to other people's responses, and then what was taking place in my DMs, and then all the new people that were listening on the podcast, people that were coming into my EDM and signing up to programs. And it was really interesting to observe two parts of me, my ego and my authentic nature, my truth. And both were so different. One was ego, antsy, and what are we going to do? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? We got to create this. We got to create that. We got to create more funnels and all that kind of stuff. A real kind of like as I said, unearthed scattery energy, which definitely would have been me in the beginning of my business, and I would have acted it out. And I know that because there are times that I did do that in the beginning of my business. And then another part of me that just was very still, that was just this really gentle reminder of it's it's just your time. It's just your time for this to take place. And lots of people were asking me, what did you do? What did you do differently? What strategy did you use? And I'm sorry to say, I didn't use any other strategy. You know, I've been doing my ZF Tuesdays for such a long time now. And I remember at one point Steve was like, no one really does ZF Tuesday anymore. It's mainly just you. Do you reckon you should still do it? And I'm like, yeah, it feels awesome to get up and dance and share a message. And you know, that just feels good for me. It was never about getting everyone involved and getting them to dance. It's me doing it. It was just for that. And if that invites other people to do the same, then awesome. So really what I have been doing over the last 9 years is I've been sharing and tweaking the way that I share, tweaking the way that I show up, but tweaking to what feels good and right for me. In the beginning, I know that I shared from a place that was like, oh, what are they going to like? What are they going to, what's going to get the most likes, or what's going to get the most this? And I could feel it. It was more of a needy type of energy. I'd put something out and want something quick in response. And so over time, it was like, no, how do I want to, express myself on video? Like, I don't always want to have to be or think that I have to be like the serious, spiritual, happy, positive, fucking toxic chick, right? It's not actually me. I'm a dark motherfucker. I got dark shit that goes on in my head, and some days I'm anxious beyond words, to infinity and anxiety and beyond, right? And then there are other days where I'm like just in a funny, silly state. And then there are other times where I am like peaking from joy. And it's like, well, there was a part of me that's like, share that. Just share the realness, you know? And so over the last 9 years, it's been a journey of figuring it out and tweaking and then sharing, figuring it out, tweaking and then sharing. And that has been my structure. That has been my system because it's felt good for me. And I know there's heaps of stuff out there that says, do it like this, do it like that. And I assure you, I haven't done any of that. What I have done is remain consistent with my community, in that I do share, but I share like now what I want to share, and I share when I want to share it, so I don't always feel pinned to my phone. So over the last 9 years, it's been my own journey of authenticity in how I show up in my business, in my life, with my community. And, there's a book by, I'm pretty sure it's Malcolm Gladwell, The Tipping Point, and I talk about this with my coaching clients called the accumulative effect. When you do something and you keep doing it and you keep doing it and you keep doing it, there's going to be an accumulative effect or a tipping point. Now, you can be doing something repetitively that's shit for you. There'll be a tipping point. There'll be an accumulative effect, and you'll get an outcome. You can also be doing awesome things repetitively over and over and over. And then there's a tipping point or an accumulative effect of something awesome, And what happened in from November to March was, I believe, an accumulative effect. Just been doing my thing and tweaking it, doing my thing and tweaking it, doing my thing, tweaking it. And over time, over 9 years, and this is what I mean. I understand what my friend was saying. I understand what Mel Robbins was saying. I understand what my dad was saying. All these things that I wanted to reject and prove that I could do it faster. It's like, nah, man, I am so glad I went on that journey. I'm so glad I went on that journey. Past Kat wasn't a fan of it. But fuck me, I'm so glad that she did listen and she did keep plugging away and not give up because one post didn't deliver this, or one post didn't deliver that, or one share didn't deliver X. Because now future Cat, which is now me, Cat, says, well, thank you. Because look where we are now, and I can receive this up level and upgrade in my community with grace, with both my feet still planted on the ground, not being unearthed, not making it mean anything other than cool. That's awesome. And welcome, you know? So I wanted to share that with you because I haven't spoken about it. I haven't really spoken to it because I have been in observation mode and now there's been, I guess, a real settling of my community. It continues to grow, but certainly not at the rate that it was. Like I said, sometimes it was 10,000 overnight. And so I was just in observation. A lot of people were like, "Are you going to share about this?" I'm like, "Yeah, eventually I will." But now I'm just watching. And I'm now not going to, release a course and be like, here's how you can increase your Instagram following by 500,000. I'm not, I'm not going to do that because people were like, oh, you could monetize that. And I'm like, fucking nah, that's not my jam. That's not where it's at for me. Where it's at for me is, I'm always down for coaching people when it comes to authenticity because that's what I actually believe got me here, being my authentic self, tweaking the way that I show up so it feels more real, more true, more aligned. So yeah, it's been another proud moment, I guess. And I just have greater respect for the journey, greater respect for time, and just have and through that have learned it's just the valuable lesson of not forcing shit. Just plug away, plug away, plug away. Trust that what's meant for you will find you, that what's you are searching for is also searching for you. And just because it doesn't happen on the exact date and the exact time frame you want it to happen doesn't mean it's not going to happen. So that's my share today. Maybe you need to hear this and apply it to whatever area of your life. Maybe you're listening to this and you're like, fuck, I really needed to hear it because you do have your own business on Instagram or some social media platform. Trust in time, and trust in the timing of your own life and be in this, whatever it is that you're doing. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's to do with money. Maybe it is to do with business. I don't know. That's your personal world. Be in it for the long game. Delayed gratification. Like there's just so much juice in those really simple teachings that are very frustrating for the ego. Very frustrating for the ego, but so good for your soul, so good for your human development, and wonderful things that you can pass on to people around you. My stepdaughters are witnessing this and they're like, how come when I share something, it doesn't get this? I'm like, hey, brah, because they call me brah. I'm like, hey, this is 9 years. I started at nothing. I know you are a generation that is even more about instant shit. But now I can share. I can share the journey, I can share those pearls of wisdom and be there for them when like they're down about something or why, oh my, this video didn't get as this many likes. And I get to actually share with them from a place of lived experience. So I'm grateful. Grateful for humble beginnings, the slow lane, and delayed gratification. And just remember the accumulative effect, the tipping point, because your little things that you do day after day that are in favor of serving something good with good intent, of course the universe is playing with that. Of course the universe is watching and feeling and sensing. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of time for things to reorganize and for it to beautifully line up, you know? So don't give up. Don't give up. Don't lose hope. And I hope my share today can just ease any bulldozing, forceful energy parts of you and just cool it down.